Hello and welcome back to my channel. So we are moving on with the Archon quest once again. We've just woken up from the Sub-Zeros and Dunyazad is inexplicably alive and Catherine is talking with Nahida's voice. So, let's jump straight in.
You're actually Nahida, aren't you? Paimon felt like Catherine was acting weird when we met at the Sub-Zero's festival. And Dunyarzad, did you save her? It's a really long story. We shouldn't disturb her. Her consciousness is still weakened. Let's chat somewhere else. How about by the Traveler's favorite bench?
Lovely. Let's get off to our favourite bench. I'm gonna teleport. Just to be quicker. This would not have been quicker on my old laptop.
Let's talk about Dunyarzad first. It's such a relief that she's all right. After we parted on the last day of the Sub-Zero's festival, I left the city and saw what the Traveler had described. Among the countless dreams, I found one that was growing fainter and fainter. This proved my suspicion. Once Dunyarzad could no longer bear the Akasha harvesting her dreams, her consciousness began to dissipate. But this also meant it escaped the Akasha's control. Such a small fragment of consciousness can't last for very long, though. It will return to its original dream, where both will gradually fade until they completely disappear. I used all the power I had to keep her dying dream alive as long as possible, but it still wouldn't have lasted for much longer if it hadn't been for you two breaking the samsara. So it looks like we did manage to save Dunyarzad in the end, and not a moment too soon.
A very happy ending.
Huh? Why are you two smiling so happily? I thought you'd be so moved that you'd start crying. I need to spend more time observing human emotions. Both are fine. Everyone reacts differently.
There were tears last time, so now there's none left. I just smile.
All right. You two must have a lot of other questions for me, right? After all, you saved my faithful believer. As your reward, I will answer any and all questions.
Okay, here we go. About what I saw in that dream at the Avidia Forest.
At the Avidia Forest, there was this incense that made the traveler fall unconscious and dream of a huge tree and a red sky. You also heard someone's voice, right? It said world and forget me. Yeah, so you do know! We've been wanting to ask you what that was about, and if the red sky was related to Conria. It seems like the traveler established a connection to Irminsul. That was a message left by Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul. Perhaps her last memory before she died. As you two probably know, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared after the disaster in Conria. The timings of these events do line up, so your suspicions are reasonable. A message from Greater Lord Rukkhadevata? We thought it was from King Deshret. King Deshret? That god who died even longer ago? Some present-day desert dwellers still worship him. You probably just heard some of their conspiracies. Okay, so what does the message mean? I still haven't managed to decipher it. Even the Akasha isn't currently capable of doing that. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul seems to be contaminated with something that has a very dangerous aura to it. Many devoted scholars go mad as soon as they connect their consciousness. I've warned the Academia about this many times, but people still keep falling victim to it. But I believe this is the key to saving Irminsul. That's why I've kept trying to decipher it. So the tree in the vision was Irminsul? Oh, Tainari also said that Irminsul is sick. Is it because of the contaminated consciousness? But even if you can't figure out what that vision was all about, it seems like our search for you was all in vain. The traveler wasn't affected after coming in contact with that consciousness. I've never seen anyone like that. With you here, we may have a chance at deciphering it. No, we must decipher its secrets. I've already eliminated all other factors that might affect Irminsul. This is the only one left. This puzzle has life and death at stake. It could determine Irminsul's fate, as well as Tevat's.
Why do you look like Catherine?
To be accurate, I'm using the Akasha as a medium to occupy Catherine's consciousness. How did you do that? Poor Catherine. Does this mean you can also occupy other people's consciousnesses? Theoretically, I can enter anyone's mind as long as they're wearing their Akasha terminal. The Akasha is the legacy of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. As Lesser Lord Kusanali and the first Akasha terminal, my consciousness has always been linked to the Akasha. I've always respected my people's free will, so I've never actually occupied their consciousness. When necessary, I just borrow this bionic Snezhnayan puppet.
Well, there we go.
Hold on. Did we just learn some deep, dark secret? So Catherine is... No wonder Paimon felt something was off about her. What about your own body? Why do you need to borrow other people's? Don't you live in the sanctuary of Surasthana? That story begins a long time ago. After Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared, the sages found my newly born self and took me back to Sumeru. At that time, I was young and weak. The sages kept me in the sanctuary of Surasthana, ostensibly for the sake of protecting me. But I've hardly heard from them since. However, I do understand that they had hoped to find Greater Lord Rukkhadevata instead of me, a symbol of her passing. So, the sages basically put their new Archon under house arrest? How dare they! Why don't you teach them a lesson, Nahida? In some ways, they aren't wrong. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was omniscient and omnipotent. Even after her death, the Akasha is still empowering this nation. And I'm still really far away from being able to call myself the God of Wisdom. Moreover, the Academia is also more proficient at governing this country. My existence has little meaning.
To me, you're already an excellent Archon.
Yeah, you got a lot of believers. Just look at the Sub-Zero's festival. Everyone who showed up truly loves you. Thank you for the kind words. But I honestly don't need physical freedom as long as I can connect my consciousness to the Akasha. Trying to find a way to save Irminsul is my life's mission and top priority. I will work on that, and try to live up to being a deity in the meantime. Every once in a while, I will also take up the duties of the God of Wisdom and enlighten a lost soul here and there. Doing all that should be enough.
About the sage's plan.
There's never been any big problems with the Academia's governance of Sumeru. This is the first time I've seen them step out of line. I wonder what caused them to go down this path, and what they hope to achieve. Even though the city's residents haven't noticed anything strange, if the traveler hadn't broken the Sub-Zero samsara, the situation could have become dire. I tried to do some investigating in the Akasha, but I couldn't find anything suspicious, and all the people of interest seem to purposely avoid wearing their Akasha terminals. I think they're deliberately trying to hide something. Oh, that reminds Paimon. In Gandharvaville, there was a sage who had invited Tainari to join some kind of project. Could it be related? Regardless, I need to first investigate the sage's motives, make things right, and punish them if needed. But I'll have to be discreet, or they'll see me coming.
No one has realized the issue with the Akasha.
You mean how the Akasha stops you from having dreams? Yeah, it's been such a long time. No one's noticed something's up? It's not that no one noticed. It's more like no one cared. Ultimately, it's all rooted in the sage's misdirection. Misdirection? The sages convinced everyone to believe that being unable to dream is a sign of rationality and wisdom. Not dreaming is a badge of honor in Sumeru, even if the truth is that their dreams are being reaped by the Akasha. With their propaganda in place, the sages can maximize their use of the Akasha to facilitate their research. Besides, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata must have created the Akasha in the hopes that it could be used to its full potential. That's why I've never come out strongly against this. Anyway, the perspective advocated by the sages drowned out any voices of doubt. By now, even those who never use Akasha terminals find it too shameful and embarrassing to talk about their dreams.
That's really sad. And fucked up from the sages. I don't have any other questions.
Got it. I hope my answers were satisfactory, seekers of knowledge. To be honest, maintaining Dunyarzad's fading dream took a lot of mental energy. I think I may need to rest for a while. Oh, and you don't need to worry too much about the sage's activities for now. The Akasha won't be able to conduct another project on the scale of the Sub-Zero Samsara in the immediate future. Go and get some sleep. Leave everything to us. What a relief. This is truly the most exhausting birthday I've ever had.
Traveler? Paimon? Why am I here? Do either of you know?
Maybe you were sleepwalking. You know you can't wake up a sleepwalker. We happened to walk by, so we thought we'd wait for you to wake up.
I see. Huh. I should visit my maintenance personnel sometime. Oh, I'm fine. I better go. Thank you.
We've spent quite some time in Sumeru City, but ever since we last said goodbye to Lesser Lord Kusanali, we haven't heard anything from her. Oh, we can't just keep waiting around like this. Let's go find Catherine and pick up some work so we can at least keep ourselves busy.
Let's do that.
Ad Astra Avisask. We meet again, you two.
Hi, Catherine. Do you have any commissions for us today?
Commissions, huh? Let me think. Oh, how about this? Please attend the Academia's Academic Symposium this afternoon and recite a love poem on stage.
Do you have any others?
Wait, say what now?
And if possible, please also use your camera to capture the reaction of the audience upon finishing the poem.
Nahida.
Huh? What kind of commission is that?
I feel embarrassed just imagining it.
I see. It appears that you're not interested in this commission. In that case, please go to Port Ormos and convince the Eremites there to spend some time volunteering at the local orphanage.
Hey, that's not any better.
Isn't that just asking for a beating?
I'm sure the mercenaries will have some interesting reactions as well.
Paimon's gotta ask. Just who exactly has been submitting these commissions to the Adventurers Guild?
Oh, the commissioner? Well, actually, I just wanted to see the two of you in action.
There we go, you're Nahida, right?
Was it so obvious? I was hoping you would actually take one of those commissions. That kind of chance to observe humans doesn't come by often. Ah, so it's Nahida. Paimon just knew Catherine wouldn't crack those kinds of jokes. When did you get into her head? From when she said, Ad Astra Abisask. So it's been you this whole time? Are you done resting up, Nahida? Yes. I've been sleeping ever since we parted ways, and I even had a really, really long dream.
What did you dream about?
It was another dream about the Sub-Zero's festival, except it was a happy one. In my dream, I was sitting in the middle of a flower terrace, and everyone in Sumeru City was holding hands as they danced in circles around me. They danced round and round, and everyone looked really happy. I also got to sit on a gigantic flower carriage. Ferris, the Knight of Flowers, raised me really, really high above the ground, and I was throwing an endless amount of Yalda candies at the children.
You know, Nahida, maybe your dream is how the Sub-Zero's festival really should be. It's meant to be a joyous time where everyone gets together to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah, but in reality,
Huh? Wasn't I describing a really happy dream? Why are you both looking at me like that? Wait, could this be an example of the emotion known as pity?
No, we aren't pitying you. That would only make everything worse. We just don't want you to feel too sad. By the way, have you had a chance to visit Dunyarzad? How's she doing? The Homiyanis haven't allowed any visitors after the festival, so we haven't been able to check on her.
Yes, I paid her a visit right after I woke up. She was resting at the time. Her condition is stabilized. However, since Elazar is a manifestation of the withering on the human body, we can only cure it by finding a way to take care of Irminsul's own withering. But for the moment, our top focus should still be figuring out what the sages are up to and what they're planning.
Right. Who knows what'll happen if they manage to pull off another scheme like the Samsara of the Sub-Zero's festival.
So our first priority should be investigating and putting a stop to the sages' activities. As for how we should pull that off, let's discuss it somewhere else. There are too many adventurers around here.
Oh, good point. Sorry, adventurers. We're gonna be borrowing Catherine for a little while.
must be weird her not being at the. Well, it does look weird her not being at her little station.
Let's continue our chat here.
Okay, so do you have any ideas on how we can investigate the sages, Nahida?
Actually, I've already done a little bit of work on that. But for now, I want to hear your thoughts.
Possess a key figure in the academia.
I've already tried that. But all the key members of the academia, even the core of 30 guards, intentionally avoid wearing their Akasha terminals. It seems that from the very beginning, they've been guarding against info leaks from the Akasha. Of course, it could also be because they're wary of me.
Have you already caught the sage's attention?
I'm guessing not yet, but distrusting me would make perfect sense if they've ever paid attention to the urban legends about me. In any case, I probably can't take over their minds directly.
Possess a student and infiltrate the sage's quarters.
No way, that's too risky.
You mean it'd be too easy to get caught?
No, it's not that. We shouldn't involve innocent students in this. A single mistake could completely ruin their lives.
Okay, that's fair.
Doing that would be ignoring the safety of my people for my own selfish goals. How is that any different from what the sages are doing?
That's a good point. Spoken like the god of Sumeru.
We could grab someone close to the sages and question them.
We're in the dark as of now. Since we still don't know anything about their goals, any rash move could tip them off and lead to terrible consequences. After all, every person in Sumeru City is one of their hostages.
I can't think of anything else.
Are we really out of ideas? Nahida, you're super smart, so you already have something in mind, right? Don't keep us in suspense. Spill the beans already.
According to a popular theory from the Vahumana Darshan of the Academia, rejecting impractical motions at the beginning of a planning session will give more weight to the actual proposal.
Okay, but aren't you the god of wisdom? You don't have to use that kind of gimmick to make us take your ideas seriously.
Well, I've been thinking that if I can't directly possess the leaders, and if I can't get ordinary people involved, then I should find someone who's already involved, but hasn't decided to side with the sages.
You're saying we should recruit a spy? like it could work. Oh, before coming back, we met someone named Alhaitham. He seems like he acts alone, and he likes doing stuff behind the Academia's back. They probably aren't in cahoots.
Actually, I already have someone in mind. Do you still remember that female scholar named Setaria?
Setaria. Paimon remembers now. Isn't she the one who's always trailing behind the Grand Sage of the Academia? We ran into her basically every time the Sub-Zero's festival repeated itself. You could even say we're old enemies by now. Paimon still remembers the smug and mean way she always spoke to Nilu.
I've always liked observing all kinds of people, and Setaria has always stood out from the crowd. She was born in the desert and was hailed as their greatest genius. Her academic gifts allowed her special admission into the Academia, and also gave her the opportunity to serve as the sage's assistant.
Oh, Paimon didn't know she was from the desert. She must be pretty special then. Paimon feels like most of the desert dwellers around the city are working as mercenaries.
The name Setaria means star. When she lived in the desert, she shone like the brightest star in the night sky. Later on, she was chosen by the sun. The star was given a place in the daytime sky to complement the sun's dazzling light. Soon after, the star witnessed the sun scorching the earth, which brought forth many disasters. The star began to waver. Instead of staying beside such a sun, wouldn't it be better to return and light up part of the night sky? But in the end, she couldn't give up the radiance of daytime. To cope with her shame, the star buried her guilt and closed her eyes.
Those are Setaria's true thoughts, right?
From the sound of it, Setaria's just hung up on the research opportunities here. But she doesn't really support the Academia. She still feels guilty about not doing more for the desert, right? She's just running away from her problems.
Indeed. When they are presented with complex moral issues, many people will simply plug their ears and go with the flow until the problem can't be fixed anymore. She's suppressing a lot of guilt, but before she realized it, she had already become the sage's accomplice. She can't deny her part in their schemes anymore.
Sounds exactly like the person we need.
Right. We must somehow make her face her problems again. That way, not only can we get useful intel from her, but she can also use it as an opportunity to redeem herself. From my past observations, Setaria will take a day off from the Academia every 10 days to do some shopping in the city. Tomorrow afternoon just happens to be a shopping day for her. That'll be our chance. To prepare, let's go check out some of her favorite spots, and have a quick chat with a few of the vendors there.
Okay, I think we're gonna do that next time. So I hope you enjoyed this little plotting, scheming session with Nahida Catherine, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!